Well, hello, everybody. This is Bucknuts Steve Helwagen here at Value City Arena, and we are here. Uh, oh, it's almost been 2 hours since Ohio State finished up its game against Michigan here, and it was not a good game, obviously, for Ohio State. The Buckeyes dropped this one to the number 2 ranked Michigan Wolverines, 82-61 this afternoon. They had a season high crowd of 17,684 here. And unfortunately, the Buckeyes did not give that big crowd much to cheer about. As I wrote in my game story about the only good thing about today's game was it only counted as one loss for Ohio State because it felt and seemed like something much more. And certainly Michigan flexed its muscles. They pushed Ohio State around in this game, and it was not good from any point. The Buckeyes trailed by 12 points in the first half. Eventually, it was 10 points at halftime, 44-34. Michigan scored the first 4 points of the second half, and Ohio State was never able to make a run. The Buckeyes could not get the score under 10 points in the second half. Michigan eventually got it all the way out to 23 points with 2:45 to left. There were chants of "Let's go blue" here at Value City Arena, or the Schottenstein Center, I should say, and very embarrassing, the whole situation, I suppose. But you try and you look at this, and again, Michigan in the first half moved the ball well, got wide open 3-pointers, and they were 9 of 18 on threes, 50%. In the second half, they only took 6 3-pointers. You know why? Because they pushed the ball inside, and for the game, they ended up dominating the paint, 42-20 in paint scoring in this game. They out-rebounded Ohio State 44-31. They had 17 offensive rebounds, which created extra possessions for them. So you just, tie it all together. It just was not a good performance today by Ohio State. I mean, we can go into this any way you want. Ohio State for the game only shot 36% from the floor, 32% on threes, 7 of 22. And every time it seemed like Ohio State was getting a chance to make a run or whatever, Michigan would hit a three. Michigan in this game, 6 different players hit 3-pointers in this game, including Yaxel Lindeborg, Adai Mora, their 7'3" center. He was 11 of 16 from the floor, 2 of 3 on threes, 6 rebounds, 24 points. Ohio State had no answer, certainly, for him. So, I didn't want to start this stream to sit here and bash and wallow and everything that went wrong. But Ohio State in many ways was exposed today. And I think that it goes back to roster construction. The first comment here from another Steve is Diebler needs to go. As I look at that, I'm not ready to necessarily make that point yet. I mean, the loss drops this team to 15-8 and 7-6 in Big Ten play. They're in a 3-way tie for 9th place. And we've talked about it. You got to finish in the top 8 in the Big Ten to avoid having to show up on Wednesday and play Wednesday and try and win 5 games in 5 days to win the Big Ten tournament. Not that I think that there's much hope that this team's gonna make a run in the Big Ten tournament and win the Big Ten tournament. The way things are constructed right now, we've seen double-digit loss to Wisconsin, 2 double-digit losses to Michigan, 8-point loss to Illinois. So they are a middle-of-the-pack team, certainly, but there's no reason why they can't regroup here in the final 7 games of the Big Ten season, plus one more game out of conference. Next Saturday, they play Virginia. I believe they're ranked 16th nationally, and they they will play in Nashville, Tennessee next Saturday, hoping to get down there to Music City for that game next week. So the hope here is that they come back on Wednesday night. They play USC, a team that they're tied with in the Big Ten standings at 7-6. USC took a 2-point win at Penn State today, and they're going to try and go for a 2-game split on the East Coast trip for them if they can beat Ohio State, obviously, here on Wednesday. Going into this game, we talked about how the forwards, Devin Royal and Amari Bynum, really didn't do a whole lot in the first matchup with Michigan, and they really didn't do a whole lot the other night in the win at Maryland. Bynum, and again, I can't say he's hit the wall or something, but he played 33 minutes and had 5 points and 0 rebounds. 5 points and 0 rebounds. That's crazy. I know that Michigan had bigger bodies, and boy, did those bigger bodies rebound. Lindeborg, 14 points, 14 rebounds. Morez Johnson Jr., 11 points, 12 rebounds. Those guys both get doubles in this game. It's like a carbon copy of what happened last year with the 2 big men that they had at Michigan, just abusing Stewart and Bradshaw last year. The names have changed, but the result remains the same, but they got to get Bynum going again and find ways to get him in position where he can make some things happen. Royal couldn't get anything going either. He was 1 for his first 6 in this game, ended up 6 of 12, so he actually hit 5 of his last 6 shots, but the game was over. I mean, he scored probably 10 points after they're down 15 or 20 points, so it really had no impact at all on the bottom line in this game. He ends up with 15 points and 6 rebounds. But again, a lot of that's fool's gold when this game was decided. Christoph Tilley had 8 points in the first half, hit 2 3-pointers early, and it looked like he was going to be having another big game. Ends up with 10 points and 3 rebounds. Got his shot blocked twice. 7-footer got a shot blocked twice. 3 of 8 from the floor, 2 of 3 on threes, 3 rebounds. Every game he comes back with 3 rebounds. 7-foot guy comes back with 3 rebounds. John Mobley Jr. 5 of his last 6 games have been really good. This one, not so much. He was 1 of 9 from the floor, 0 of 3 on threes, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He played 33 minutes. Those 4 guys just really didn't help the bottom line much. Bruce Thornton, at times in this game, you felt his presence. He ended up with 16 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. He played 35 minutes, had 2 fouls in the first half and had to come out, 2 of 6 on threes. I'm not sure what more he could have done. And back on Mobley, it just felt like they were doing everything they could to limit his touches. So, that was a factor for him. A bright spot, so to speak, Tyson Chapman, 8 points, 6 rebounds, broke his string of 3 straight double-digit games. He was 2 of 4 on threes, hit one right before halftime, kind of keep him in it. But, again, just not enough. And they get Cups and Jagovin, minimal contributions from them off the bench as well. And this is where you're at again. And again, I think this goes back to roster construction, and I don't want to sit here and, dwell on what we know and what we don't know. But, Michigan comes in here with, a 9-man rotation that looks like they're going to contend for the national championship. And Ohio State had every chance to go out and put together a similar roster and just couldn't do it. I don't know if they didn't have enough bullets in their gun to go get Yaxel Lindeborg or Namari, Burnett, or, players of that stature. Morez Johnson Jr., my goodness, what a stud. I mean, he's amazing. So Trey McKinney, their freshman, 12 points for him. Ohio State did recruit him. He was a Michigan kid and ended up going to Michigan, and he's a stud. So I really like him as well. But to me, I give Michigan the good housekeeping seal of approval. I mean, and let's don't, get it twisted. This is what they're doing to a lot of teams in this league right now. They beat Penn State by 40 points the other night. So they are, Ohio State, I don't think this speaks to where Ohio State stands vis-a-vis some of these other teams in the Big Ten. And as you break down these last 8 games, I think you have the one swing game with Virginia. That's, would be great if they were able to get it. I think you've got 4 games that you have got to put in the win column, and that's Wisconsin here, USC here, Indiana here, and at Penn State. Those 4 games have to be wins. And then your 3 Big Ten remaining games that are going to be tough. At Iowa, they just put up a bunch of points and are tough to beat at home. And then Purdue here is going to be tough, and at Michigan State. Certainly, they showed their mettle last night with their win over Illinois. So Ohio State's got their work cut out for them. There is still a path to 20 wins, despite how bad this looked. It only counted as 1, but they were certainly exposed, and bigger, stronger, better teams are an Achilles heel, certainly for this Ohio State team. And again, I can't sit here. I don't know what Michigan spent on their roster. I don't know what Ohio State spent on their roster, but there's probably some kind of a disparity there for where money was spent and the quality of the players. So I will post a few of these comments here. They'll be back here, as we said, on Wednesday against USC. Off the top of my head, I don't know the exact time for that. I guess I can look that up as we're still talking here, and I will post a few of the comments. If this is the first time I've ever done this, so with this setup, so for me to do this, I'm in a little bit over my head. Brant Mullins says they're rivals on the football field, not on the basketball court. And I would agree with you at this point. Michigan's won 6 of the last 7 over Ohio State. The one game Diebler beat Michigan was the end of the Juwan Howard regime there a couple of years ago, when they, didn't even have 10 wins that season, and everything just kind of fell apart for them. So yeah, I would agree with you on that. Just looking at the schedule here to make sure everybody knows, those who are still inclined to tune in or come down here on plenty of good tickets. Certainly, it'll be 6:30 on Big Ten Network on Wednesday night, and then Saturday night, 8:00 Eastern, 7:00 Central in Nashville. The game will be on Fox Network Television. So the Buckeyes will. Those are the next 2 games, and I think you got to win at least one of those 2 games to really feel good about a chance to stay in the hunt for an NCAA berth. And if they're able to come back and bounce back from this and get them both somehow, some way, we're going to find out about the mettle of this team. There were some signals and things I didn't like, obviously, as this game went on. The play that kind of tipped it off at the end, Tyson Chapman kind of fell down, bringing the ball up, and was called for an over in the back. And Ohio State was trailing by 12 at that point. Michigan immediately reeled off the game's next 8 points. And as I like to say, the game over light was flashing, even though there's still probably about 4.5 minutes left. So that was that. Jack Evans says this team stinks. Okay, good to see that. Steve, the guy I referenced earlier, says Diebler just seems like an extension of Chris Holtmann. The talent level has fallen off since Mata's departure. I don't think we're going to get anybody on the record here at Ohio State to address this, but it's a new paradigm. And I think I've been doing this a long time. This is my 38th year covering Ohio State basketball on a full-time basis. And I think about a Sunday afternoon here 35 years ago in 1991. It wasn't here. It was down the street at St. John Arena, where they beat Indiana in double overtime. And you had 2 rosters that were dead equal, even. Jimmy Jackson going against Calbert Chaney, Mark Baker, going against Damon Bailey, and Treg Lee and Perry Carter going against Eric Anderson, and Greg Graham. I mean, you had Jamal Brown on the Ohio State side, rest in peace, Chris Gent, all those guys. And you figured you had a chance going out on the circuit to recruit the best players. I don't know, or at least, to attract top talent. Much of that was high school driven. what we're seeing now is transfer portal driven and money driven. It is an entirely new paradigm in college basketball. And Ohio State, is going to continue to have these same results until such point that it makes a commitment to spend with other teams that are now occupying the top spots, which are Arizona, Michigan, some of these other teams. I saw it was really funny. Houston's at the top of the polls as well, but Kelvin Sampson, was crying, poverty there. I thought that was kind of funny the other day. But so at any rate, that's just kind of, we can make all the pronunciations we can, but unless we know, if they have the same amount of money as these other teams and this is the result, then yeah, somebody needs to be drawn and quartered. But I'm not sure that's necessarily the case. And moreover, the season is not over. It's February 8th, not March 8th, and the NCAA bracket is not out just yet. Keep scrolling up here. Joe Box, he says, outclassed. I agree. Outworked, outclassed, outhustled. Michigan early in this game, I said to my friends, Ohio State needs to start hot and stay hot. Michigan led 7-2 to start the game, 13-8 at the first time out. And you just got the bad signals immediately, like, oh. And they played tentative. They played scared. And you're not going to beat anybody playing like that. So I'm sorry, my neck is bothering me, so I have to kind of stretch it every now and then. But that kind of gives you a nutshell, I guess, of what I'm thinking about that. Larry Loose adds, no big man. No kidding. When they go back into the transfer portal this year, and again, this season not over, but all things being equal, if they're able to keep Mobley, able to keep Royal, able to keep Bynum, there's three good pieces, I suppose. They're bringing in Anthony Thompson, who would probably be a small forward. You'd still have Tyson Chapman potentially coming back, but you've got some spots you got to go out and fill. Big man. You're hoping Josh Ojianwuna, transfer from Baylor, will be able to help you. Ivan Jagovin potentially would be back as well. But, he's got to improve, tenfold to have an impact on the bottom line here and win games like this one. It was all teed up for him here, and they just were completely outclassed here today, as Joe said. But when they go into the portal this year, they've got to get a lead guard to replace Thornton and probably need to go and find a 4 or 5 star big man somewhere that can hold their own with the likes of a Merez Johnson or a Axel Lindeborg, somebody that can at least keep them in the ball game and not get their shot blocked and not get run over for rebounds and everything else. This comment, they run the same sets over and over. Yes, Sage, Ohio, I'd say probably true. They rarely deviate. You see these other teams move the ball and come up with different and unique ways to attack you. Michigan went over the top 5-6 times today, alley-oops on Ohio State, and Ohio State really didn't have an answer for that. And Ohio State couldn't hit its three-point shots. It certainly wasn't going to score in the paint, so makes it a long day. Charles Parks shares the unfortunate information that Bynum isn't very athletic. Yeah. He'll get better, though. I think strength is more his issue than athletic ability. I think he's fine. I think strength is more of an issue with him. Dave Wilson, he's got a lot to say here. Can't defend, can't rebound. Royal and Thornton are averaging more rebounds a game than Tilly. That is sad. He says, I feel bad for Thornton. He has a chance to end up Ohio State's all-time leading scorer, but never go to the NCAA tournament. And in my preview before this game, I had written that Thornton and Tilly have played 224 combined college basketball games, none in the NCAA tournament. And believe it or not, had they won this game today, they would be 9/10 of the way to an NCAA berth. It is still a possibility. but we'll see. Charles Park said they not beating Virginia. Virginia, I watched them yesterday. They're pretty good. But Ohio State played North Carolina tough. North Carolina just beat Duke yesterday. North Carolina beat Virginia a week or two ago. So I'm not going to say anything one way or the other about that. I want to watch Virginia again this week, see how they're doing. But, I would think Virginia favored 6-7 points on a neutral court, maybe 5, 6, 7. I don't know. Got a lot of other ones here saying they're horrible. Haven't been good on defense since Thad left. Let's see if there are any at the end. Jack Evans. They're not winning 20 games. I beg to differ with you, Jack. I bet you a hot fudge sundae. I bet you they do get to 20 wins one way or another. Let's just see. Steve, can we tear down the shot and renovate St. John Arena? This is the 28th year of the Schottenstein Center. 28 years. Boy, time slips by when you're having fun, doesn't it? And, this era has not gone well, certainly, on the whole. Been a lot of good years with Mata, but really from 2013 on, not a lot to write home about. And, yeah, it's been a tough go. People blame the building, but they have won their share. They dropped to 8-7 officially here in games against top 5 teams. So they have won their share of big games here. A couple of them over highly ranked Duke teams, Purdue here 2 years ago. But obviously this program in serious retrograde right now if they can't turn this around. Got a big comment here. Let's see. They are a very tough watch. Joe, I agree with you. Not even competitive. How about Mobley? 1 of 9, once again, stinking it up in a big game. Thornton should just dribble drive every possession. He's the only consistent player. And how do they have 3 red jerseys on the paint and 1 Michigan player gets the rebound? That's poor fundamentals. I agree. How about Morez Johnson? That possession in the first half where he had 3 offensive rebounds and he scored on the 4th chance. Was that crazy or what? That was a microcosm of this whole thing. Jim Mullally says they got to spend money. Hey, you know what I got to do? It's 5:42 p.m. and I am still here at the Jerome Schottenstein Center near the banks of the Olentangy River, the corner of Olentangy and Lane. And I need to go home and watch the Super Bowl. Pulling for Mike Vrabel, the former Ohio State defensive end, to get the win for the New England Patriots. But if he doesn't, then that means Jackson Smith-Njigba may have had a really big game for the Seattle Seahawks, and they would get the Super Bowl championship. So we'll see tonight what happens with that. Just wanted to share my 2 cents. Obviously, we've been doing these post-game videos, but now we were able to do them in a little bit more of an interactive way and involve social media, and hope to be able to do a few more of these in the future. So thanks again to everybody out there who stopped by here today. We've got about 260 people on here, and don't give up the ship. I mean, did we quit when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? No, we did not. We stayed with it. And that's probably what I would ask any Ohio State fans out there to do today. So tomorrow the sun will come up, and on Wednesday night they're going to come out here, and I think they'll give USC all they can handle here on Wednesday night. So that's it from here at the Schottenstein Center. This is Steve Helwagen for Bucknuts.com reporting. Everybody have a great Sunday night. Enjoy the Super Bowl and stay warm.